Brian Cashman, he just got a new 4-year deal. It wasn't widely reported. The Yankees announced it without a press conference. No big deal. So for all of you who think Brian Cashman is the problem, you've got 4 more years with him. Talk about a Hall of Fame resume. He's been the GM there, what is it, since 98? Just an incredible, incredible run of success. For those of you who think it's a failure because he hasn't won a World Series since 2009, there is nobody else in the industry who looks at it that way, what he has been able to do. But he said something yesterday that should scare the hell out of Yankee fans and worry Major League Baseball. It is a trap that as a front office you have to not fall into. He said, hey, we can't control the timing of Aaron Judge. He's our focus. We've been having conversations. We've made offers. He's made offers. He knows exactly how badly we want him. Our owner said he wants him to be a Yankee for life. However, we can't control his timing. That's true. But think about how much control Aaron Judge has over the on-field fortunes of the Yankees. What if Aaron Judge doesn't make a decision until other outfielders are off the board and pitchers are off the board, and the main free agents who the Yankees would want to bring in because they've got the payroll capacity, because they want to try to win their first World Series since 2009? What if Judge leaves them at the altar? It can be a double Yankee screwing because they've got this money allocated to Judge, and if they don't give it to Judge, they want to reallocate it elsewhere. And Brian Cashman basically came out and said, there's nothing we can do. And I have a different view. There is something you can do, Brian, and here's what it is. Make your last and final offer to Aaron Judge if you've got the cojones to do it. If you've got ownership support and you know you're overpaying for Judge, and rumors are everywhere, obviously from agents, that Judge is going to get 9 years, which is patently absurd. But let's say 9 years at $40 million a year. Let's say that's what he ends up getting, which it can't be, but just say he gets $360 over 9. If you're the Yankees and you know that's what Judge wants, you go as high as you're willing to go, but be willing to walk away because you have other offseason plans. The Cardinals did fine without Pujols. Teams do okay. You should be looking at the total amount of money your ownership is spending of the team you love, not a particular player. So let's say you're willing to give Judge $340 million. All right. You go to Judge. We have $340 over 10 years for you, let's say. Making up a number. I need to know within 48 hours. And I'm serious about this because if you say no, we are going a different direction. What a player does when they hear that is they go to the other teams who they're talking to and they try to get last and final offers from those other teams so they can then figure out where the most money is and then make their decision. But in order for that leverage to actually happen, you have to have the first team make the demand of the player and make sure that demand has consequences. Sadly, most teams aren't willing to do it because they don't want to offend their player. Because the first thing the agent says when you go to a player and say, here's the offer, you've got a day to decide. The agent says, that's how you want to treat the player? Do you think that's really showing the player how much you want him and need him and love him and how much he means to your organization? He's got a party he's got to go to. He's doing stuff with his family. He's going to a football game. You can't ask him to make a decision. This is a career-long, life-changing decision. You can't give him a day. And to that I say, horse hockey. Aaron Judge is not thinking about where he wants to be today. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He's always known what he wants to do. You think that Jacob deGrom, just on a side note, like woke up one morning and said, how about Texas? No. His agent met with Texas and said, hey, he'll go to Texas, but it's going to require a 5-year deal to do it. It's all planned and organized perfectly by the player representatives. And in order to make things fair, you have to act that strictly if you are on the team side. But unions count on management not doing that. And in baseball, we see time and time again teams who are not disciplined, teams who are willing to pay more than they need to because they want something done prematurely, like now. It's the off season, folks. Winning the off season, it's fun. It feels good. But guess what? The overwhelming odds are you're not going to win the World Series. There's a 29/30th chance that you are not winning the World Series next year. And you're going to have the players for years and years and years. Or you're going to have to trade them and get pay for them to leave. Oh, it's a whole thing. Aaron Judge is deciding, likely, right, between the Giants and the Yankees. It's weird. You had Cashman talking about Judge. You had Farhan, who's the GM and president of baseball operations of the Giants. He's talking about Judge. He said those conversations are continuing. We're just trying to put our best foot forward. The process continues. But obviously, we have really, really strong interest. We thought it was a really productive visit a couple weeks ago. Brian Cashman has to comment. Listen, if Aaron Judge signs somewhere else, do we pivot and do something else? Do we remake ourselves completely? I have no idea. Of course he has an idea. They've got a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. I never understood why GMs would speak about free agents until I was running the team. And then it was very, very clear. I wanted excitement in my market. I wanted them to know, hey, we're in. We're trying. We're going to make an offer that if he doesn't accept this, what do you want me to do? What else can I do? Here's the downside. When you tell your fan base what you're doing, like Farhan did in San Francisco, and Judge goes to the Yankees, Giants fans are going to say, hey, you had that money allocated. Why don't you spend it on 3 different players or 2 different players? And the answer is, you then have to tell your fans, no, that was just special money for Judge. So we were always chasing our tails when we would try to use the public, sort of the media, to make our fans happy about what we were doing or try to explain and rationalize our existence. We always knew that there was short-term arguing that we were doing. Hey, we're in on this guy, we're in on that guy. But then long-term, if we're not going to get the guy and we're not going to reallocate the money, we're going to have more explaining to do. But again, when you're dealing with PR, I get it. When you're in the front office, you don't worry about tomorrow's bad news. You worry about taking care of today's good news.